Okay, well, just to wrap up on this absolute debacle by Bayside Council and the CEO Mick Cummins, who honestly, his credentials should have to be questioned. This was once 4 or 5 years ago. This was once a thriving golf driving range. There were satellite businesses, club fitting, cafe, you name it, all sorts of fitness place, all different little satellite businesses, all thriving and servicing the community. They had just signed a new 10-year lease when out of the blue council decided that they were going to renege on the lease and told them to vacate. Now there's talk there was millions of dollars spent on compensation to the people who just signed the new lease. That question has to be answered, or the question has to be asked and answered. How much was the payout? Another dubious part of this whole equation is that in a previous life this was the municipal tip. And I'm going to walk down the road to where my home is. And where that locale is was once the Dunlop battery factory that made lead-filled acid batteries. Now, all the refuse and all the toxic chemicals were dumped in that particular municipal tip, along with asbestos and all sorts of terrible pollution. That was filled in and made into a golf driving range. And I'm just walking down the road here. And so that was filled in, made into a golf driving range. It was a thriving business for 10 or so years or so. And as I say, out of the blue, council decided they were going to renege on the lease. We locals got wind of what was going on and were most upset because this is a one-way street in, a one-way street out. There's a retirement village there across the road and a nice little estate that's landlocked, absolutely landlocked. And in their wisdom, council were going to build a huge netball complex on this particular once golf driving range. Stone the crows, I say. Anyway, we locals objected and contacted the EPA, and the EPA did investigations and soil tests on the land and found the toxins and the pollution below the surface was too dangerous to develop. So council, who wasted millions of dollars, upset so many people's businesses and lives, just had to walk away and abandon the project. But it gets worse. They then decided to relocate or to build this complex. There's my home there, by the way. In the sports grounds here was part of the Sandy College. Now this was once an oval where all we locals used to exercise, people used to walk the dogs. It was a focal point. This is only a couple of 100 metres down the road. This is a dead-end street. There's a school just a couple of 100 metres further down. There's a retirement village there. There's a hospice through here. Excuse me. And they fenced this area off. Now, we ratepayers paid millions of dollars towards this particular development. And look at the mess. So it's just a fire hazard waiting to happen. These poor folk and we folk across the road are going to have parking restrictions. They've brought out the most draconian parking restrictions. They're going to have permit parking. There's people here with, you know, young teenage children, young people in their 20s and stuff that have their cars, and how they're going to park is an absolute mystery. So they've spent millions and millions of dollars on this particular precinct here, and lo and behold, we're told the money that we've spent helped fund this project, we can't access it. So, you know, how unfair can this world be? And I've learned since through the through Council Watch that the CEOs of these Bayside councils are virtually answerable to nobody. I couldn't believe how incompetent this Mick Cummins was, and how arrogant and blasé he was about everything. Little did I know that he has no one to answer to, because they're plants of the, I think, anyway, this is my opinion, on the, they're plants by the Labor government. Now, this is also a native park here where we have supposedly some special fauna in there and bird life. And here we have all these floodlights and this massive netball complex. I think there's about 14 courts. And how the area is going to cope as far as parking is concerned is an absolute mystery. So the question has to be asked again. How much money was paid out that's undisclosed to the people that signed a new 10-year lease? This is a little bit of parking they've got for all these. There'll be hundreds and hundreds of netballers and their followers. This is a sporting field that they're fenced off, and only participants to the sports can access the field. Something that we've actually spent our hard-earned money on. And this is an absolute disgrace of the highest order. And as I say, there's one road in and there's one road out, and how it's going to cope. So apparently they've got parking permit signs all through the whole area. That's going to change the whole feel of our beautiful little place that we pay big dollars for. And you know, they've just trashed their way of life. And Bayside Council, in their arrogance and their waste, are accountable to nobody. So that's the video, and the questions have to be asked again one more time. Why didn't Bayside Council do due diligence? They must have known, well, they should have had to known, that the area they were going to develop in the first place was a toxic tip. And secondly, how much money did they spend on this particular project? Anyway, that's the way it is. They're a disgrace, and somebody has to pay.